Hey everybody, it's your boy Captain Hunter coming at you again. Big L PhD, Big L PhD. So, wanted to have a quick conversation about the Harvard president scandal. Gosh, what's her name? Claudia Gay. That's her name. Gosh, I hope I'm pretty sure that's her name. Claudia Gay. By now, all of the academics out there, or anyone paying attention, maybe I just pay attention because I'm in academia, so called, is really concerned about this plagiarism scandal. And I know that plagiarism was, man, from my time starting academia, and I'm really for my bachelor's degree. I didn't really talk about it too much for my associate's degree. There was a bunch, true, false, fill in the blank, A, B, C, D kind of stuff. But when you started writing papers, that was harped on mightily. That was harped on mightily. So I want to address this scandal, from couple of different points here. First is my disappointment with this particular individual, Miss Claudia Gay, who, if I'm going to, um, you know, online, then how much more for an academic who's going to classes, brick and mortar schools, at some traditional schools, more traditional schools, and I don't know what her pedigree is. I didn't look that up, but I do know she was teaching. Was a full-fledged professor at Stanford, and then of course was then in Harvard. And for her to be engaging in this type of behavior is unacceptable. First, for her dissertation, it's crazy that wasn't caught, and these different citation problems weren't caught by her committee members, whatever their terminology is, right? Her chair, supervisor, committee members, whatever they're called. And then, and then she continued to do it after her dissertation for her PhD. I think the last I heard was 11 articles, which just either poor citation or deliberate. That's a matter of opinion. And then, of course, yeah. So 11 articles, peer-reviewed, published articles, where she's, failing to properly cite information from from other individuals, and failing to give them their proper acknowledgement and due. So I think that, and it's really just problematic, and it's embarrassing, quite honestly. So what should you learn from that as you're going about your academic career? This stuff can come back to bite you. And I'm putting out this video because it was important to me, because number one, I don't want anything to come back and bite me, right? I want to be up above board, above reproach, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, and for my own academic journey, from all of my degrees, right? So I didn't, if my plagiarism checker, well, first of all, I didn't plagiarize anything. I knew it, right? So these different warnings from the instructors and about, this, that, and I didn't worry about that, because I knew I was coming up with my own material and might not have been as articulate as other, so-called academics who were trying to impress each other with their use of vernacular and expanded vocabulary and broadened lexicons, et cetera, et cetera. So I was just trying to impress each other. But I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to get the information out there and trying to write the best material that I could, and present ideas that were coherent and that I could express myself logically, and coherently and articulately. So, with all that being said, that can be an issue, right? So, if you're in your academic journey and you're in your academic career, don't do those types of things. Do not plagiarize people. Give the people their proper citation. Use quotation marks. Do everything, whether it's MLA settings or APA settings or whatever you're doing. Use them. And so that's that. That was my academic journey. And it's quite another thing with this particular lady. So it's really kind of, and the reason I would lean towards it was deliberate is because she knew as an academic advisor, talking about it, sitting in meetings, sitting as a tenured professor, having these discussions, correcting other people's papers, all that stuff, right? There's no way that she didn't know what she was doing. There's just no way. There's just no way. I can't sit here and make this video knowing that I'm going to write a paper and I'm going to do the same thing. Can't do it. Right? It either makes me incompetent or a hypocrite. If you read one of my papers and then go back to someone, particularly I would say after mass, I would put it on anything. I know I didn't plagiarize anyway, but let's just say I did make a mistake, right? I would say, okay, this was a mistake, but my PhD dissertation, my master's thesis, no, absolutely not. And that is looked at by individuals with PhDs and no. And peer-reviewed articles, peer-reviewed articles, they may not be looking at, they probably are not looking at, citations, etc. to that degree, checking your citations, whatever. They probably are not doing that. They're probably just looking to see if your conclusions are correct. Are you citing anything at all, right? Where did you get this information from? You just made this up? Oh, okay, you got this from, John Smith in 1997. Right? Does everyone go up and look John Smith 1997? I'm going to tell you right now, as a professor, when I'm looking at papers and they quote something out, I don't know what they're talking about, and they got this citation up there, I absolutely look it up. I do. Not. So anyway, and I had a professor at school. I had a professor at the University of Phoenix, where I went. I know everybody dumps on that, but I'm saying that to hype them up. University of Phoenix. My professor asked me where I got this paper from. Where's this information from? Even though I cited it. Then he wanted the article. So I emailed him the article. I always save, I would say 95% of the time. Sometimes I forget this, but 95% of the time, if I'm quoting an article or whatever, I save the article. I've been doing that since I had a master's degree, PhD, etc. So 95%. So if you ask me for something, I more than likely will have it. More than likely. Some books I probably won't have. So anyway, so that's that. So the second part is her termination over this situation. And I was listening to another academic, Mark Lamont Hill, who I used to have a lot of respect for, but when he lost his debate with Candace Owen and he got his, that was just really, really bad. That was like 2 or 3 years ago. He had a debate with Candace Owens, and they were talking about all different type of typical right-wing talking points and all that kind of stuff. So he lost, in my estimation, he lost that debate. So my respect for him kind of dwindled. But anyway, so he started a YouTube page, and he's a very, very popular guy. So he's obviously going to have a great following already within 2 or 3 weeks. Are you serious, lady? What are you doing? Get off your phone. Get off your phone, right? So anyway, so I'm listening to Mark Lamont Hill as he goes about this, and his points on this were fairly, which something I would actually agree with. That the question is, does it deserve termination? Her job. I would say yes. I would say yes. The reason I would say yes to her termination is because, right, this is 11 articles, I believe, plus the dissertation. That's unacceptable. As the president of one of the most prestigious and pristine, let me just leave it there. Prestigious university. I've looked this up, right? The most prestigious universities in the U.S. It's usually between Stanford, Harvard, sometimes MIT, who, depending which website you look at. So those are the three. I don't know what they would. I didn't read about what they base it on or whatever. But as far as that, as far as their prestige, those three are the top, and some would say Harvard, etc. So So for the leader of that particular university to engage in that type of conduct is really just crazy to me that she would do that. And yes, I would say that maybe not a total firing as far as parting of ways, but maybe listen, you can't be president anymore. We'll put you back. We'll put you back down to, um, associate faculty or tenured professor. You go back to teaching classes, but we can't have you as a face of the university. We just can't have that. Just can't have that. And so Mark Lamont Hill and I agreed that not only was it those situations that caused for her termination, but it was coupled with her disastrous speech before Congress or interview, grilling, whatever you want to call it, question and answer session before Congress in which she was completely flubbed it. Now I watched the highlights of it. I didn't watch all 5 hours of it. I'd like to say I plan to watch it, but I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to watch that. Maybe put it on the background or when I'm doing some other stuff. I don't know. But anyway, so her speech before Congress concerning the anti-Semitism that is going on in many college campuses, in particular, obviously Harvard, and how the students don't feel safe and all that. So between those two issues, her fumbling of the anti-Semitism question and free speech debate, and her and her plagiarism scandal, I think that she could not sit up there and be the face of Harvard anymore. I think. And the other, so those are those two issues. So let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Should a professor, should a president of a university be fired for intentionally, unknowingly, unwittingly, which I don't believe that it was, but we'll just put it out there, engaging in plagiarism. Second, how should, if you watched it, if you know about the debate, if you know about it, should a president of a university advocate for free speech on the university campus, invitees, public speakers, while also maintaining, advocate for free speech, allowing individuals to come in, or prohibiting their invitations, disinviting people, etc., because of their stance on certain matters? Should should a university professor go down that path and engage in that and be fired for that? So let me know your thoughts and your opinions, right, on her stance, because the stance on the whole anti-Semitism debate is that she was being inconsistent. She was allowing, and this goes to another, I think it's called FIRE. I don't know what the acronym stands for. I think it's FIRE, something about free speech. And they ranked Harvard as the #1 most transgressor of free speech, because they disinvite people, they cancel people, they censure professors, fire professors for their stances on things that are considered unpopular: trans issues, anti-Semitism, race issues, men and women issues, whatever. So they've been ranked as it wasn't that many universities, 240 something universities, and Harvard got the lowest score as far as transgressing free speech. So much so that earlier in 2023, around April or so, there was a group of professors who got together and said they wanted academic freedom, and they want to be able to talk about things, right? You got to be able to talk about things, right? It's one thing to be sitting in a lunchroom table throwing pejoratives and then eventually food and engaging in violence towards people. That, certainly we want to prohibit that, but should we altogether prohibit the freedom in academic speech? That's another question. And so let me know your thoughts, your opinions about that. And then thirdly, what does this have to do with the other venture that came out in 2023, which was affirmative action? What does this have to do with affirmative action? And what does that look like for that particular case, right? So, you know, there was a time. Let me just stick with this. Affirmative action. This case between Harvard, Harvard University of North Carolina. Man, you got this black woman professor who's engaged in this practice, man. It's just bad. It's just bad. Just embarrassing. Just bad. Just bad. Just bad. Just bad. Just bad. Bad. You know, it makes us look like we can't do it, like we're incompetent. She only got this job because she's a woman. She only got this job because she's black. She really can't do it. Look, she's plagiarizing left and right. She don't know how to. At worst, she's a liar and a thief and a plagiarizer at best, that's the worst. And at best, she's incompetent. Oh my God. And then she goes to this Congress and can't answer questions. And I don't know if she got prepped at all, but her lawyer, Harvard lawyers, oh my God, just what happened? Just, oh my God. So this all looks bad, right? And so, man, this is why people want to get, it's just another notch in people's belt to get rid of affirmative action and get the most qualified applicants there. Forget about trying to do all this stuff about, race and gender, and let's just get the most qualified applicants. But then that, where does that leave the less socially mobile, those with less finances, right, who can't? Remember the cheating scandal at Yale and other schools, who can't or don't have the money to pay for tutors and take tests and all this kind of stuff. Just like, what is going on, man? Just bad, just bad, just embarrassing and all that kind of stuff. So let me know your thoughts, your opinions. I've kind of rambled on a lot. Should someone be fired for engaging in numerous instances of plagiarism, even though they want to kick students out of universities for plagiarizing? Was it coupled with her, Ms. Gay's, Dr. Gay's, can you even call her doctor now? I don't know. Was it coupled with her fumbling of the campus safety for Jewish students on Harvard? And, what are the thoughts about affirmative action? Does this hurt or help the case, or is it irrelevant and all that? Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Rate, subscribe, share. If there's anything else you want me to talk about. I think, my own opinion, I do think she should have stepped down or been asked to resign or go back to, she can't be the face of this university anymore. And as far as the affirmative action debate, I wasn't really all that upset about affirmative action. I think a lot of things probably should be rolled back. I think affirmative action was supposed to only last for 25 years. It's been almost that time now, right? So it's time for us, it's time for black folks, it's time for Asian folks, and it's time for everyone else to really get themselves together and stop asking for these things. So what about the other side of the coin? I hear that. What about the other side of the coin there, that, if we go back to this good old boys club, we don't have these standards, then, legacy students will get on these college campuses, then other individuals, people will be going back to hiring their cousins and their nieces and nephews and all that, and friends of a friend and all that. So, it's not what it's who you know. So, I don't have the answer to any of that. I think that some things are human nature. That's a discussion for another time. Let me know your thoughts and your opinion. We'll get into that another time.